Da, 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 da. Hello, everybody. It's Friday. It's a better way of life, bringing you into the end of the week, as we always do, because the end of the week needs to be celebrated and praised and allowed to flourish in its own little reverence, because for all of us, it means that the weekend's about to be here. And for some of you, that means that you're just going to do another job. And if you're a parent, like we are, you never stop working. It's just as simple as that, right? Just get used to it. I'm starting to get sleep now, though. That's a good thing. After 20 odd years of no sleep whatsoever because of children, I'm beginning to get a little bit of sleep at night. You've got to look for the positives and everything. Good week, Marianne?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just being me, really. And feedback I had from somebody was, well, it was interesting because there'd been a couple of things I spoke to you about that somebody sort of, I felt like sort of trying to understand me, but hadn't done the work to understand me. And you know that I don't like that. If you're going to try and understand me, at least try and get in my head. So I almost had a slight wobble of allowing other people's thoughts about me infiltrate me. And I've done an awful lot of work on that to really understand who I am and who I want to be. Like after I was diagnosed, I was this loud, like, wow, yes, I know, And then I thought, actually, okay, you know what you're dealing with now, and you know what your challenges are. So now you've got to work out who you want to be to the world. And that's taken a lot of work as well, because a lot of it I found has been years of me actually dealing with stomaching other people's stuff being projected onto me, which is usually their undealt with stuff. And so I've become a lot better now to hand that back. And then I spoke to somebody last night that then gave feedback and said, love what you're putting out. And I said, I'm taking a humorous side to the fact that business is damn hard at the moment for lots of people. And I don't want to take the whingy approach. That was an old me. That's not me. And so using humor, I think, gets you the right people. It was really good to hear, because when you hear so often people saying, maybe you ought to change what you do if it's not working. And I'm like, no, because I believe in it still. It was really lovely to hear from somebody that I value, who's been on this podcast, Mark Prendergast, actually, to say, just keep doing what you're doing, because quality will see through in the end. It may take longer to get the work because of the world we live in. And I have to try and sort of put those, like that filter on. In fact, yesterday I remember reading stuff on LinkedIn and I thought, oh, this is like I said, it's like the Wild West out there. Facebook's like quiet in comparison.
Well, now listen, our guest today will probably be able to pick up on a lot of those things. For start, they the neurodiversity T-shirt, they have one, they wear it. They know about branding, they know about personal branding as well. They wear it well on LinkedIn, and they're all over LinkedIn as well. So welcome, Magali De Reu. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with your branding. It pops out like a big orange popping thing on LinkedIn. What got you into branding in the first place?
I'm so glad you didn't ask me what got you into orange in the first place, because I wouldn't know how to answer to that. What got me into branding in the first place? I'm really fascinated with the idea of you could have the best idea or you could have the best product, service, doesn't matter. If you don't know how to package it, if you don't know how to market it, if you don't know how to brand it, it's worth nothing. And I like to help other people win in that area. Like you mentioned neurodiversity. So my ADHD lets me, I'm all about the dopamine. So if other people shine, I shine. That's what I always tell them too. And I also like the fact that I'm the living proof of that, having turned around my LinkedIn in 3 months after a pivotal moment last summer. So I guess I've been doing this for 10 years, but systemizing it, structuring it, and turning into a marketable offer is pretty new to me. But, at that point, I was forced to kind of look at everything I'd been doing. I had to rebuild my solo business and be like, okay, why don't I start applying everything I've been teaching others to do to my own business? And like I'm ride or die, like I'm all or nothing. I have like 2 modes, and I went all in and was super committed, and I'm still enjoying the benefits of it.
That's interesting. Do you think that's a common problem actually for a lot of people, which is that they are very good at telling people how to do things, but actually don't do it themselves?
Yes, because I think it's also a way of, it's avoidance, because you see this with therapists mostly. Therapists enjoy helping others because as long as they do that, they don't have to focus on their own problems. So it's the same with branding. It's the same with everything. Yeah. Okay.
So you're a branding therapist, but you've done the therapy now.
I would say I'm therapist adjacent.
Right.
My clients. So yeah.
Let's give people some immediate tips. All right. We're not going to give them all the value because obviously we want them to go and work with you. But where are you mainly seeing people going wrong on something like LinkedIn?
The main problem to me is not picking a lane in terms of audience, not picking a lane in terms of solving one particular problem, not picking a lane in terms of addressing a certain type of people in your content. And again, I must admit, I've been there. So when I put out my new offer, I decided to target speakers, executives, founders, solopreneurs. And then I was like, okay, but I can't just not apply my own, then I would be like a hypocrite. So what I did was I picked a lane, speakers, and now I attract the right people, not just because of the audience thing. We'll get to that later, I'm sure, but just going in on one specific topic, problem, offer, audience, and people love simplicity. Like you mentioned in the beginning, LinkedIn is like, it's a new Facebook. There's so many input. There's so many posts out there. You really don't know where to look first. And I really believe I really want to help create a world where we share relevance and where we want to stand for something. And the more you want to stand for everything because of FOMO, which is natural. It makes sense that people are scared to pick a lane, but by picking a lane, you not only repel the wrong people, but you end up attracting the people that are right for you, that you can service best. So
we get that. Let's talk about Marianne's journey in this, because I think that's quite interesting.
I think it was me that showed you the post that I read, and I'm not going to lie.
Which post?
The one where you roasted people.
With the poo balloon? Was it that one?
Yeah.
Because it do I want to use the word trigger? I don't know if that's the word I want to use. It brought up quite a lot of emotion for me as I was reading it.
In what way?
Graham. For me, I was only diagnosed a few years ago, and as I was
with autism,
ADHD, potentially autism, but ADHD. Yeah. And so for me, it was where I can understand myself more. So I've gone on quite a journey as well, without really even sort of knowing it at times, where this bit was, I suppose, that I realized that I didn't like the version of me that I was. I looked back at my past and I knew that I liked who I was, but I didn't actually like the version of me that came out to the world. And then I realized it was that I was around the wrong people. That what was happening was I didn't like that person. So I made a really concerted effort of not putting myself in situations where I was around people that didn't bring out the best in me. And the other week, something happened to me, and I realized it was probably a similar feeling that came out that I read when I was watching that post. That it was that moment of feeling like when I was told by people I wasn't good enough.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And no, I didn't ask you because I knew by this point, don't even go there, because you know that you won't want to hear what she's got to say, which some people would say that's a me thing, which it potentially is a me thing, and it works for some people. But working with someone like Graham has worked for me because he's got a different approach. And I think what it taught me looking at that was some things work for some people and some things don't work for other people. And I think it's about where someone's at in their journey or the sort of person they are. Some people just need to be told what to do.
But also that's a part and parcel of being in the lane as well, isn't it? Right?
Yes, but also at the same time, and this is what drives me, you know, that, and besides, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I run on pure spite. Every time someone tells me I can't do something because of this or that, I'm not able to do something, like it really makes me want to go for it even more. But what I don't like about people, and this is why I don't have that many good close friends, but I don't like people beating around the bush. And I really like, you know, I like to call people out on their, and I also don't want to myself. It's really funny because when I downplay myself, if I were to downplay myself and be like, oh my God, I suck, I wish I was better at this, people would go root for me. But if I were to put myself out there and go like, oh my God, I'm super proud of this, this is clear, I'm excel at this is clearly what I'm good at, people get uncomfortable. And like, it's not, and especially being neurodivergent, I guess, I don't think, and as a society, we've been looking at it in terms of a disorder, lacking something, rather than having a different view of things and seeing things differently. And if I can make people feel less lonely and just help them move forward by saying the truth, the good, the bad, I don't know, then, you know, that's ultimately my main goal. I really want more transparency. I don't just want to, I'm not just saying this, I'm actually showing people. And you know what? I think it's weird how I hop on a call with people and they're like, hey, you show up the same way as you do online. And I was like, okay, is that a differentiator? Is that really what sets someone apart these days? So yeah, I completely went off topic here, but I'm sure that you get what I'm saying, right?
I think that's fundamentally the difference. And again, I think because I work very closely with Graham, and so you don't coach me. I don't know what you do. I don't like that word, but you work with me, I guess. Is that I'm an educator at heart, and I think that's what sets me apart from many people that do changey type things. I'm going to call it changey type things because that's what it is. So taking people from A to B. I think I come at it from a different point of view in a number of ways, in that I struggled a lot, but also as an educator, I see other people that are struggling, and that sometimes you just have to hold the hand a bit, and slapping some people around the face to give them the truth works, and for some people it doesn't. And I think it's as simple as that. I think maybe it's as simple as that. But what I will say, it's about knowing who you're dealing with. It depends. Yeah, some people are ready for that. I mean, we had somebody on the podcast the other week that will only work with certain people. They've got to be laser focused. And what I picked up on there that you were saying is, I know if someone says I can't do it, I'll do it with bells on it and with two fingers, if not one. But the other side of it is I'm a mum, and I'm going through menopause. And so I'm now seeing that I can't always do that. So that's why Graham knows he has to be really careful with me, because if he told me you've got to do this to get to there, I may not be able to. And then failure comes into my mind, and then we've got a whole load of other stuff goes on. So I think potentially it is that just some approaches work with some people. And I love that approach, because in many respects, I'm very no nonsense when I'm doing what I do. So when I work with people to create programs, like courses, I will have to be quite firm with them, but I'll also see where they're coming from. So we're probably not that different in many ways, but I did, and I did though. I looked and I thought, wow, what talent to be able to look at.
Thank you.
How somebody's profile looks was incredible to be able to do that. I just thought I wouldn't be brave enough purely because
you're British.
No, because I know that I'm not necessarily in a position to be able to do all those things to fix it. So I hear you're rubbish, which some of it is a me thing, but equally it's because I would want everything fixed now. So if you said this, and this, I would hear that's rubbish and it all needs fixing now. And I'm like,
yeah, not every, like I'm telling you, not everyone's prepared for some cold hard facts. But what I do, like, if you don't mind me asking, being neurodivergent in the United Kingdom, to me, that would be awful. Like, you guys have such a way of beating around the bush. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Brits, but when they say, like, I don't want to bother you any longer, then what they're actually saying is, I want to leave, I want to get out of this meeting. And you have to keep, like, translating all the time. How do you guys navigate that, being as straightforward and direct as you are?
Yeah, well, it is interesting. I've worked with the Dutch in the past, right? And the Dutch are very straight to the point about everything, right? You know, and you're right. There is a cultural thing here where in the UK we try and dumb everything down to placate people, right? It's almost seen as rude to be forthright. And
oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, for me, I see it that whenever I'm doing anything, I'm always trying to think about how the other person might feel as well as me, because the world doesn't revolve around me, but it equally doesn't revolve around them.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's really funny that you mentioned that, because my partner, so sometimes the way that neurodivergents connect is by saying, when someone tells them a story, like a neurotypical person would be like, oh, interesting, tell me more, and how did you feel about this, how did you feel about that? But like a neurodivergent person, they're like, hey, I had the same thing happen to me, here's my story, and let me tell you a little bit more about that. So my girlfriend, fiance, she tends to say, oh, honey, this is not about you this time. And she does it like in a very polite, sweet way, so I don't feel offended. But I do think that there's a middle ground. It's not just, I mean, there's an in-between. There's a gray area. But I do find it hard to, and there's a speaker crowd in the UK that I don't fit in with them, because they're very, like, I'm out there calling out the brutal stuff, and they are very palatable, very nice in your face, but behind your back they will talk about you. And this is what this is not a British thing, but this is just a people thing. Like, I don't get why being honest and saying what you're thinking is considered to be unique. And most people are like, well, I don't want to offend anyone, but you can be direct and still be polite at the same time. It's just, I think it makes things much harder than they need to be.
I don't think all of it's got to do with offending, though. I think now quite a lot of it's got to do with clicks, because I've been in situations where I've looked at speakers and thought, I'm sat there thinking, what? And I literally watched it the other day. I sat and watched it. I wish there'd been a camera on me, because there was two speakers who were having a conversation. I say we were having a conversation because I came in.
This is at an event, by the way, to give you the context for that. So Marianne was at an event.
And so one of the speakers was speaking to somebody else, that they were sort of speaking, that blurred line. And then you had another one doing it with another one, and then two of the delegates there. And I sat on my own, and I didn't speak. And of course, the educator in me was thinking, why is nobody getting me to join in here? This isn't my responsibility to do this. And they never did in the end. But But what I actually saw was that the lady next to me said, so one of them said, somebody said, I really like your no nonsense approach to things, to the one lady. And she said, well, you know, it's where it's got to be or something. And so the fairly new to business, I'd say, lady next to me said, it's the only way to be, isn't it? And I looked at her and I went, actually, it's not. And she went, oh. I said, well, no, it's not. Because it's not. It isn't necessarily, because what I tend to find, if you're not careful, I don't mean you, but if one's not careful, is that it then becomes an echo chamber. It becomes that echo chamber of, I'm going to say it the loudest. And if I say it like this, I read it on a post last night with somebody that's very, very direct about what they talk about. And there was a little part, I was reading through all the comments, people going, that's amazing, that's true. And it was something very serious. But there was still part of me that didn't agree. Did I dare want to go on that post? No, because every single few people that disagreed, this person was not hearing it at all. They literally were not hearing it. And so it was as if the light voice and came back with almost sarcasm maybe, and like quite snidey remarks back. And I see this with a lot of speakers, but I wonder if people go along with them because, and you'd be great to call them out on that, because nobody else wants to, because there are these little cliques around.
But it's funny that you're telling me this. I think that if people don't talk about you, then you don't have a strong personal brand. You have to oppose, at least. You have to, So there's a WhatsApp group of speakers, and they're essentially worshiping someone who's been in the industry for quite a few years, and it is an echo chamber, and it's really, I call it a circle jerk, but I guess echo chamber is more polite. But I don't want to work with people because they have a certain status or because of their name. And it's funny because when I noticed that I was being trash talked, I was being talked in that group, because, you can't trust people and there's always someone leaking the stuff. And so I called someone who was part of the WhatsApp group. I thought they were my friend, and I called it out. And you know what they did? You know what they said? They said, so I literally said, hey, I know about the WhatsApp group and I know the stuff that people have been sending to each other. And she said, huh? Anyway, I saw about your engagement. Congrats. Also, did you see on the, did you watch the news? Diane Keaton died. And I was like, how is this? But at the same time, this very much confirms, this says guilty is charged, right? So, but isn't that interesting? And isn't that also kind of repelling? Like something that want to like shake people?
Well, the thing is that people get whipped up because actually you can, I say, call people out on it, because a similar-ish thing happened to me. And actually, it probably did help me to work out what my brand was. Well, it did. In an instant, it did work out what my brand was. So I was, I asked somebody, I didn't call them out, which is what they said. I asked them very politely.
The difference between you and me, I guess.
Well, no, I just asked a question. I asked what qualifications did they have in order to do that. They could have said none and then left it, which is fine. But of course, I obviously hit a nerve with them. And so instead of just going, actually, I haven't, and leaving it, they said they hadn't. It carried on, blocked me, and then wrote a whole post.
Oh, my God.
It was about me and called me a qualification snob. And then
you should put that in your headline.
Well,
we did.
I did. So
oh, my goodness. Lovely.
What actually happened was that, if this had been years ago, it would have been devastating for me. I'm going to say, if I hadn't done the work on myself, it would have been, and it would have been the rejection sensitivity and everything else. But I've learned to sit there and say, right, rationalize this. So what wasn't nice was, so somebody told me what happened, and I saw hundreds of people, because they've got a very big following, this person, hundreds of people slating me absolutely inaccurately. So I had a word with myself and just said, that's not true. You know that's not true, Marianne. They don't know you. they know her or they know of her what they want to know. I then saw in a Facebook group, I saw the same, and I thought all these people that call themselves coaches and they call themselves whatever haven't actually stepped off. There was only one person, Melanie did, that's in our community. She did. And what I did was I went out and I bought a pink cap and gown, and I called myself the qualification snob, because I thought, yeah, it's because I've got standards. It's because I've got standards and I stand by them. So I guess, yes, maybe I did do a lot of what you talk about, because I thought, and now that's what I want to be known for. I want to be known as the person that goes on about this and this, because it's stuff that I feel that people do need to. They do need to have standards, and they do need to do things the correct way. And if that makes me boring, as you said, I think you attract the right people. In the end.
I don't think it makes you boring at all. I mean, the proof of the pudding.
I am fun at parties, really.
Yeah, but the proof of the pudding is actually how well you've performed on LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn has performed incredibly well, and the reason being is because, in a way, I think sometimes, Marion, I think you think that you placate people, but actually, I feel like you do upset people, but you upset people because you stick to what you are saying. Right, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all, and I think Magali would attest to that as well, which is that actually knowing that you're right and sticking into a lane, and pushing that, as opposed to being wishy-washy about it, is a better thing to do.
I wonder if the lane. Sorry, just wondering if the lane thing. I've confused what the lane thing has been. You see, so to me, the niche lane thing, because of what I do. So Magali, I teach people how to teach. That's what I do. Most people think they don't need to learn. So that's been my.
It's very meta.
So
but see, it's very meta of you, like teaching people how to teach. But this reminds me of one of the biggest problems on LinkedIn right now is people. There's a difference between telling versus showing. So I feel like people are preaching like some universal truth, but if and I really want to kind of, everyone who tunes in or people who are listening, I really want them to try their next post. Okay, so let me explain the difference, right? So you could say, speaking is the toughest industry ever. Every year, thousands of speakers enter the market, yet 10 get selected by a speaker bureau. So that would be the hook. But it's completely different when you say, speaking business is among one of the hardest industries. I've seen this time and time again. 9,000 people apply, and only the speaker bureau will only select 5 of them. When you speak from experience rather than just dropping facts or truth bombs, then the tone and the impact of your posts shifts, because people tend to trust people more when they speak from experience, when they're telling a story, when they make someone, and this is why my poo balloon post resonated with you, is because I made someone feel something, and it's not always a good thing. It shouldn't always be a good thing. Like I said, your brand has to, repel the people you don't want to attract. But what you should be doing is teaching, showing, instead of just telling. Yeah, and I think I
agree with that.
I think the difficulty that Graham has seen that I have is that every man and his dog can be a trainer. It's interesting because I've had many speakers and coaches telling me that they can do what I can do, but I can't do what they can do, which is quite entertaining because I've actually got qualifications to do what I do and 18, 19 years of experience, which is quite interesting. But the fact of the matter is, in the conversation I had with somebody, that the guy that I was speaking to last night said that you can have all of the fanciness, but actually what comes down to it is what people say that they learn from is our experience. And I think the problem we've got is it's very easy for people to be able to even make up fancy stories, to be quite honest. And as I said to Graham earlier, I'm proud that I've stuck to my guns and weathered the storm.
I do think that's
on
I do think
TikTok.
that's a big part of it. One of the things that I talk about all the time at the moment is like there's a kind of pseudo facade out there, Magali, where like literally people are making up their whole profile, right? They're making up their whole persona, they're making up their whole brand, right? And they are literally stealing it from other people. I saw Marianne shared a post with me yesterday, and she went, "What's this post by this woman?"
I usually don't understand stuff. No, because normally I don't understand what's going on.
No, and I said she has literally copied and pasted that for using AI to rewrite it as her.
I know some of them. My ex-business partner, like I know some people like that too. It's awful. Yeah.
Yeah. So it happens all the time. Now I want to twist this slightly another way. I'm going to filter this back to me for a little bit.
Go ahead. Make it about you.
I'm going to make it about me.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of branding people over the years tell me that my branding's awful, and the reason being is, but I'm determined to stick to it regardless. And I tell them that they're idiots and they can go do a walk. Is that people go, your branding, especially across all of your different platforms, isn't the same, right? You don't have the same brand. You're not
consistency.
Talking about, yeah. You're not talking about the same thing everywhere. And here's the thing for me, right? I am the brand, and I know that a lot of people that are in branding go, you know, they quaver on the sort of like, you are the brand. But for me, I am the brand, right? And part of my brand is I am really damn good at lots of things, right? And I'm going to show people that I'm really damn good at lots of things across lots of different platforms. And I'm going to focus on those things that I'm really good at, in particular, in a strong way across those different platforms. So, for example, what you see of me on LinkedIn isn't the same as what you see of me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Now, my Instagram is purely 100% music driven, right? LinkedIn.
Yeah, you have to be. I mean, some things are platform specific, so I do get both, and it's the same with me. Honestly, my LinkedIn looks nothing like my Instagram.
Yeah. So what would you be coming as on Instagram compared with your LinkedIn? What would we see of Magali there?
You wouldn't understand a thing because most of my posts are written in Dutch. But on Instagram, I'm very much autism and ADHD focused because I've written 2 books in Dutch on the topic, and I've built in Belgium an online community, and it would be weird to switch languages because people suck at English. So I don't want business through Instagram. I don't like Instagram. I don't show up there as often as I do on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn, I feel like I've created a micro empire, which is, it sounds, this is why I'm saying micro, because if I've gotten so much, I've gotten so much from LinkedIn. It's given me so much in terms of business, in terms of new connections, including this podcast we're doing, right? So I really, the idea of being able to meet people in different time zones just because you post a silly balloon, it really fascinates me. I feel like on Instagram, I don't know, like for me, the world is literally like, this is my oyster on LinkedIn. That's what it feels like.
I say to Graham, Instagram, I don't get. I mean, I've had some friends that will say they only use this or that, and I've said you've got to think about whether it's for you, whether it works, or your customers. For me, I know that because mine could be anywhere. I know that there is certain sectors it would work and does, like hair works more on Facebook, but then that's not to do with the decision makers. The decision makers live on LinkedIn, that they live and work in there more. But for me with LinkedIn, it is about that.
This is the way I see it, right? So my brand is me, but my brand is also a conversation that's going on, right, between me and the world, right? Because my whole business is based around dialogue, right? And for me, on Instagram, for example, my dialogue starts in the realm of music, right? But what I quite successfully do is, having brought people into a dialogue in one particular area, I then translate that to them that actually I might be worth having that conversation with in other areas of their lives, because they're multifaceted people as well. And they will follow me over to a different platform, right? I'm the only person in the world who's achieved a music post on LinkedIn that's had 100,000 impressions. Only person in the world. I know that.
Congrats.
I've checked this out, right? And all of the PR companies and the management companies from the record companies went, why the hell are you putting any of this stuff on LinkedIn, right? And I said to them, because that's your demographic. These are the people with money at the right age who will buy tickets, who will buy CDs, who will buy merch, who will support, do a patron, etc. And they went, that makes sense, but nobody's doing music on LinkedIn. I went, that may be so, but actually what we're going to do is we're going to meet the people where they are, which was Instagram. And slowly but surely, we're going to bring them across to LinkedIn. And I've been bringing people across from Instagram into LinkedIn.
Honestly, they owe you money. LinkedIn owes you money.
Yeah, they do. And if you're listening, LinkedIn, she's right. Where's the check? Come on, right? But the point is that it is a little bit like Pied Piper. If you can start a decent conversation and you can hold people in a dialogue, you can take them wherever you need to take them, right? That's part of a good brand, is it not?
True. No, it makes sense. And I don't think that you need to, there's a difference between, there's consistency and there's consistency. I think what I don't like is someone being all giggly and nice and friendly on LinkedIn, and when you hop on a call, they're very distant. Like, to me, that, like, my brain, I just can't. My brain can't. So as long as you're...
It's interesting you said that, because I said I put a post out recently asking, would you be the person that, so if I met you in real life, would you be the same? And of course there wasn't really much uptake of it because people sort of skirt around it. But what's interesting about it is, and I see this a lot, and people say to me, you're just the same. I'm just the same. I can be quite straight talking when I need to be about the things I need to be. But I see that what really gets on my nerves is that, I suppose you want to call them rage bait, but they wouldn't call them that. The posts that get people, they say, 10 things I can't stand about whatever it is. And then they list all these things. Those ones get people piling in on them. And I actually did a sort of flip of it the other day. And I said, you're safe with me. You're safe with me because if you spell my name wrong, if you say it wrong, it won't bother me. If you turn up to a meeting late or you cancel, it won't bother me. If you don't use the right sign off for me, right, it won't bother me. What does bother me is if people are respectful to me. Because when I've then gone to people and said, that you posted saying that you'd be put in the bin if you said regards and not something else. Oh, well, I was only joking. Well, your potential customers, which could be me, is reading that. And I'm saying, would I want to do business with somebody that's going to have that attitude with me? And they say, well, I didn't mean it. I said, well, why are you saying it then? Because I'm walking away with that. And there seems to be a big, a lot of people doing this to get the people in on their posts. And I do wonder if they realise what potential damage it's doing. Because I know I've had a lot of people that followed me, they watched this. This is me. So if I'm going to teach them, it's really good for them to see the person that they're going to get, and all my posts, I'm still me. And so why portray yourself as somebody you're not just to get the crowd in? I don't understand that.
It's quite interesting, Magali. I mean, you were talking earlier about, having kind of Dutch heritage, etc. The Dutch are a contradiction in themselves, right?
Yeah.
I'd say that they're a contradiction, having worked out there with people, because on the one hand, they're all about efficiency and telling people that being straight talking and the way it is, but also they are world leaders in things like humanness. They're world leaders in things like,
oh my God, don't open that door.
do you know what I mean? They are. They're world. They're world leaders in sort of like human design and areas like that, which means that they understand the messiness of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? But the two things don't necessarily sit together, right? Because on the one hand, if you go to talk about like being late for business, meetings and whatever, I've had people when I've turned up 5 minutes late for a Zoom call before now, then just ghost me and that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They won't talk to me.
I think we need to, and this is this is a hill I'm willing to die on. I think that we need to co-create a list of people who are, who tend to ghost others, because that behavior is simply unacceptable. I mean, you can give me all of the possible excuses out there. I don't care. Like, I think that ghosting is, straight to jail.
And for us, we've said it about blocking people as well on social media, right? We've said, not saying that there aren't times when you need to block someone. If someone is being continually abusive or saying something that's like racist or sexist or whatever and harmful, yes, you might want to block. But this cancel culture thing where people just block you because you have a differing opinion to them, that is harmful, right? Because you've got to let other people's ideas and perspectives into your life, because you can't grow if you don't do that.
Well, to me, it shows if you can't actually have those conversations, arguably your argument, what's a better word, is weak. It's interesting, Magali, that it's interesting you said about the having a list of people, because it's funny, because the people that have these other lists of things they won't tolerate, whether it's that I'm very open with the fact that I can be rubbish at times, and I don't mean, I try my hardest not to be. I think that's why I'm a little bit more understanding of other people. But the interesting thing is the particular person that I was talking about, she's neurodivergent, but I would say is neurodivergent but hasn't actually done the work on herself. And so I kind of look at people and think, when you're writing that list of all the things you won't tolerate, do you not realize that if somebody else had a list, you might be on their list? So let's just not have lists. And then we wouldn't even need the list of people that we talked about then that are calling people out, because that's essentially what they're doing. And what concerns me is that it actually creates quite a negative vibe out
sentiment.
there. Yeah, and you've got these influencers that seem to be dictating the way that things should be done. And I sit there most of the time reading it going, what? And it's like they've got this following because they've got a brand, I suppose. And I absolutely take my hat off to you to call out those people, because it is very damaging, because it's people that maybe are very vulnerable, very impressionable. People that are desperate. But if somebody's going to sell them a £6,000 masterclass thing or whatever, they're going to have it because they branded themselves so well and marketed themselves. Marketed themselves so well, that person sees, I've got to have that. And all credit to you for doing that, because I think all credit for doing that, because it needs to happen more. I kind of did it that day. But actually, what I have found out afterwards is that there's a whole bunch of people that have had the same treatment that I had. But of course, you never hear of it because she's cancelled them all. Yeah. She blocked them. She blocked me. I would have had more respect if she'd have spoken to me publicly, but she blocked me. And as you said, from the speaker world, I wonder how much this happens. A lot, maybe. Does it happen a lot?
But also people, that people actually like that. And this is really strange. This is the first time I'm talking about this publicly. But I've had, from the people who were in that WhatsApp group, like each of them would book a call with me and follow the same pattern. So they would book a call with me and either not show up or leave early all of a sudden, and then, book a second call and just, and leave me hanging. And the exact same pattern. Then afterwards, I learned that they were all part of that group. And now I'm wondering, here I am thinking, like, is this setup? Is this, and like, I have pretty good instincts. Like, instincts are all I have, literally. I usually am not wrong about these things, but I don't know if I want to believe that there's people who are 10 years older than me out there looking to bully others. Like, I was bullied in high school. I thought, I was past that. It turns out I'm not. So I really think it's a shame. And sometimes instead of doing branding, I wish I made cures for how people are. How some people are.
Yeah, but Magali, do you know what it is? I had it done. So I was a school mum, and it was having to be friends with people that, again, I never would normally have. And there was a lady that was friends with me. Her husband was a pastor in a church. We were really good friends. My son had been ill. She'd been round to my house one evening. She came round, knocked on my door, came to collect something, flat out stood there and said, all the other mums hate you, don't you?
Wow.
And bearing in mind, my son as well, had nearly died some maybe 8 months before this. So I was not having a good time anyway. And I'd been friendly with her, and she'd offered me advice and everything and support. So, of course, then what happened was I viewed everybody, all the mums, in that way.
Mm.
And I then retreated and blah, 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 blah. So down the line we go. And then years later, she apologized to me. And I said, well, it's all water under the bridge. It's okay. And she said, it's not. And I said, well, nobody died, thankfully. I said, actually, I think it was because you were probably going through a hard time. And I was very gracious with that. But what I actually saw in the end was that when I did speak to the individuals, they didn't even know why they didn't like me. It was because they were so taken in by her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is what happens with these groups. And so all those people you're talking about, I think they get whipped up because this person's got some kind of authority. But I said about that perceived.
Yeah, it's a huge compliment. I think.
The loudest voice. Then you've got all these followers here because they maybe don't have so much confidence. This person's feeding them. Often it's because in these other groups, it's because they're paying them so that they'll give them and tell them all this stuff. Take that money away. This person, I know in the end, I then looked at it and thought, I stopped going to the church.
This brings us right back round to why Magali wrote that post in the first place, right? Because actually, I think with both of you, you've come through these experiences, right, where you've been treated like that. And it's part of the reason why now you do not want to sit there and take the BS from others.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to call it out and say, hang on a minute, this is happening. And it shouldn't be, right? Because it, as you say, it literally is. Not only is it harmful, but it's actually wasting time and people's, money and their lives and
their
everything
businesses
else.
And their livelihoods. Yeah, absolutely, their livelihoods. Their livelihoods.
Shame.
And I'll hold my hands up and say that I saw that post, and my question would be. When you work with somebody, sorry, so my son's off sick. When you're working with somebody, do you do that work behind the scenes with them?
What do you mean?
To get to know them. So, like I said, Graham's done a lot of work with me, and he knows sort of what my vision was, because I think sometimes it's not as simple as I want to go there. So like for me, mine's just been a sort of messy process, but I still had my eye on what my values were, I suppose. So I've seen quite a lot of coaches say, I only want to work with somebody when they're ready, which means the other work before needs to be done. So do you do that work with them to get them to that point, or do you just hit them with it, if you see what I mean? I don't know if that
No, I mean, I do work with people no matter the stage, no matter where they're at, I guess. But and this is why, like the work I do, it gets pretty uncomfortable. I ask the questions no one's asked them before. So I have to get to know the people I work with, or I can't do my work properly. So there's a huge, like, we create a sort of certain bond. And they get to show up vulnerable. And this is funny that you're telling me this, because the first thing I do, and it's kind of like an automatic pattern recognition thing in my autistic brain, is suss out their attachment style, because the way people attach, the attachment style determines how they're going to show up in our collaboration. So I kind of adjust my approach to their attachment style. For instance, when people lean more avoidant, I tend to focus on ownership more and autonomy, and them not making sure they're not too dependent on me. When people lean more anxious, I give them more reassurance. With disorganized attachment styles, I tend to focus on consistency, just because I don't want to make people uncomfortable, and I do want to show respect for the way people operate.
There's uncomfortable and there's uncomfortable, isn't there?
Yes,
would say, I'm going to stick my neck out here. I don't think you do yourself credit. I don't
Why
think
not?
you do yourself credit, because for me, the way that it would have come across, that you were just very hard-nosed and cold, and absolutely you're not.
Okay.
So
that's the first time I'm hearing that.
I would say that potentially you would.
Oh my God, my brand is up.
No,
it's not. No, it's not. But
then I think you can be quite, like, I'm quite forthright with people, but I still own the fact that I will hold your hand while I'm being forthright. And I think that there's potentially some people like me who might be scared to come to someone like you, because literally my view of you has gone up.
Yes,
like 1,000%.
Magali, my view.
Just because I told you this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with your brand, right?
Nothing. I love it.
I don't take offense. I'm not offended. Like, I love me some criticism. So
but what we've all learned here, which is this is what I do, right? Which is that through conversation, you're showing more of what's behind the brand, right? And as people understand that it will resonate with more people, and
they'll want to buy into that, because there are some people.
But I don't want more work. I'm fully booked right now, so I'm gonna hide that part just for a couple of months, and maybe Magali,
we've got an answer for you with that, which is Marianne. So you need to talk to Marianne afterwards, because one of the things that Marianne is now doing within her business is she's taking people like you who are fully booked and getting them to write courses and put that online so that you can scale up your business without doing any more work. So
I would. This is actually this is what I need. Yeah.
The whole neurodiversity or neurodivergent, however people want to say it, depending on how you're using it, it depends where people are at their journey. I mean, I've actually helped somebody write a Train the Trainer program for a program they've written that is very different to other programs, because it's about giving people a toolbox to be able to work with themselves. And I'm much, much better now at being able to work with myself, really. And also, it's funny what you were saying about the therapy bit. I coach people as well, if you want to call it that. And actually, I have therapy myself, and I'm much better at doing the coaching now that I've gone through that, because it is about being able to
This is why I hate when people have the idea or misconception that autism means I lack empathy.
No, not at all. My son's got it, and it's quite the opposite.
Yeah,
actually,
it's the opposite. Yeah. Oh my God, I could talk to you guys for ages. Maybe we should do like a rerun or like a second round or something.
I hope you've enjoyed this conversation out there today, folks. If it has touched you in any way, shape or form, or it's made you think about something else within your business, do get in touch. We would like to hear from all of you. We will be back.
Like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, and press the buttons. Okay. We will be back same time, same place next week with more of the same. But until then, from all of us here to you, bye for now.